Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! Resolve. In the last episode, we started the second day of the trial, and we are suddenly, after the witness testimony, after the cross-examination, we are already in a pinch because the jurors decided that Mr. Soseki-san is guilty. So now we are here at the summation examination once again, and we're trying to sway them. So let's do that. The jurors' contentions.
I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty.
I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying.
The stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal, gas is.
Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes.
Truth be told, the team my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times.
If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there?
I do feel that perhaps personal opinion about gas and its supply has influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind.
No, you really should mind.
The truth is, our counter-argument wasn't as unassailable as we'd hoped. And Mr. Shamsby was poisoned. There can be no doubt of that.
Then how are we supposed to turn this around?
I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shamsby was actually poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that they are caught incontrovertibly.
But that's surely almost impossible at this stage.
If we don't manage it though, Mr. Natsume
will be found guilty. No delays, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination.
We will. The jury examination. The defense's rebuttal.
I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this, Mr. Fair Play. All the evidence, you say?
That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at the Japanese man with the big mustache.
Says the Englishman with the bigger mustache.
Which means we need to show the man some new evidence to make him change his mind.
If only we had the kind of evidence.
Don't worry, this summation examination has barely started already. Perhaps there'll be a shift in the situation that shows an existing piece of evidence in a new light.
Let's hope so. To start with, though, I need to find some way out of this deadlock.
I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid
Pain. Yeah, okay. This isn't the time or the place to be discussing the price of gas, madam.
But really, think of the injustice. Air is a gas, and air is free. Why should ultimate gas cost money? It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever.
This isn't the time for or the place to be ruthless either.
If I might interject here.
Yes, madam.
It seems my fellow juror takes issue with the price our company charges for gas. But it's priceless. Precisely because of things like this man that the cost goes up. Oh, what a beastly man. That unkempt moustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea and steaming gas, utterly unforgivable.
No, Mr. Matsume isn't the one who's been stealing gas. I'll thank you not to go adding on more crimes.
Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I've quite made up my mind. It's as made up as the price of gas.
The stuff exploded and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal gas, is.
Hold it!
Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir?
Well, if you like. I mean, to be honest, I take poison over gas every time.
You take poison?
What I mean is, poison can only poison you. It doesn't explode, does it?
Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man.
Well, it's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room.
Ah, you're right. I hadn't considered that at all.
young lawyer man? Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you as our company's legal representative.
Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure.
Anyway, the point is, I haven't had the best experience with gas companies in the past.
Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes.
Hold it!
Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas? There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so.
She's really buzzing now.
All I've heard about are wonderful fuel explosions and poisonings. What about electricity, huh? What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison.
Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madam. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable.
My point exactly, but the gas thieves aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on our daily basis, you know?
More devious? Who, madam?
Other gas companies, of course.
Other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting.
We generate gas and we deliver it to our customers fair and square.
Indeed, nobody's questioning that, madam. Ultimate is an exemplary gas company.
But there are other unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have any gas at all.
What? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people?
You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
They steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's home via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas into their own rotten pipes. Then they make a contract with a household supplied by those pipes and take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours without us even knowing. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally. What a brazen form of theft. When we visit customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks.
Uh-huh, interesting. So let's pursue that, of course. Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3?
Oh golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry, just thinking to myself.
I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct?
Well, yes. I just got a little riled up about it recently, you see.
Go on.
An ultimate guest worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So let him in. And do you know what he did?
I'm afraid I have no idea. Please tell us.
He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it.
What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there.
Oh, please, everybody knows. But it was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you.
What do you mean?
I'll explain if you don't mind. As I said before, there's unscrupulous other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network.
Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it?
Obviously, there's gas in the pipes, and it's at fairly low pressure. But blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. And if you do that, any lights connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
Oh, I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe, the lights of an adjacent property that has no contract with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes.
Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have teams of workers going around neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker.
The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might, and you can guess what happened, can you?
Well, if he blew hard, then...
Wait, you mean...
That's right, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out. Along with the stove, gas started pouring into the house.
What a disaster!
The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard. So the flames went out.
I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all, I said.
So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamp and stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And then when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room.
Mr. Naruto, I think perhaps?
Yes, this is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for.
Juror number 3. The defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information.
Oh, well, if you like. I don't mind.
Well, I do. That's our company's secret method of identifying the rogues that try to...
Like I said, madam, it's widely known already.
Very well. Juror number 3. You will amend your testimony accordingly.
Yes, my lord. Although I'm not really sure what the point of all this is. Blow too hard into the gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in real trouble. So we're gonna press him immediately, of course.
When you say extinguish everything in the house, do you mean even on different floors?
Oh yes, all floors are connected to the same pipe after all.
That's true for every building. Because gas supply contracts are issued for whole properties.
Well, I had no idea that it was possible to extinguish gas appliances simply by blowing down the pipe.
It's not something we like to publicize, to be honest. But we have to carry out these investigations, as I'm sure you can appreciate.
Indeed, it has been mentioned on more than one occasion in the papers even.
Is that so? It's been mentioned to me too, very recently. An incident involving the gas stove going out inexplicably, almost leading to someone's death.
Mr. Naruto, I think perhaps...
Yes, it's finally starting to fall into place. The secret link that joins all of the strange occurrences. So we're gonna press her once again. Can we please refrain from talking of gas? There's an all-out attack underway. Ah, sorry, that's new. Or no, it's not, because we can still... And I'm supposed to take it, I don't think so. She's really buzzing now. All of her poisoning without electricity, electrocution. We heard all of that already. Explosion. Deplorable. Point exactly. Worst of enemies. Contemporary. More devious. Who, madam? Other gas companies. Other gas companies. Not quite what other... We generate gas when delivered to our customers fair and square. Indeed, nobody questions that. But they are another unscrupulous. They try to steal from us. Yeah. How do they go about selling it to people? You wouldn't think it's possible. Steal our gas and sell that. They steal your gas? How is that possible? Deliver gas to people's home via a network of pipes. Secretly, they and use their own rotten pipes. And take money from precious gas that's rightfully ours without even knowing. They're delivering gas into their own pipes illegal. What a brazen form of their theft. When we visit customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks. I had no idea. It's almost unbelievable.
It might seem unbelievable to you, but it's happening all the time right here in the capital. It's very difficult selling something you can't see, you know. Very difficult indeed.
Thank you, that will do. Clearly, this is a very involved subject, but I feel we have digressed rather too much already.
I concur. Though if my learned friend wishes to become an expert in gas, I believe the subject will suit him well. To your new career in nothingness.
Thank you so much.
You will turn your attention to the next juror's assertion, please, counsel? Sure. Truth be told, the team our officers up for me is a little sketchy at times.
Hold it!
You mean it's poisoned?
That's right. It's happened a tiny few times now.
This is most troubling indeed.
It's always days like this one when I don't get any wages. I get no tea time, see? And I see her doing it, my wife. She gets the devilish look on her face and she slips some white powder into my cup.
And you drink it anyway?
I was brought up proper, I was. If someone gives you a cuppa, you drink it.
And what happened to you? What did it taste like?
It was good awful, believe you me, salty as hell.
Then I think perhaps what your wife put in your tea was salt.
No! So, she doesn't even care enough to poison me properly, huh? Unbelievable.
Let's move on, please. A funny little story in between. Okay, that's cool.
If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there?
Hold it!
Does that mean that if the victim could be shown to have ingested something else, you'd change your leaning?
Huh? Sorry, what's that now?
Oh, I was just saying if the victim did actually eat or drink something else on the night.
What's the matter with you?
Sorry?
I said, if nothing else passed the victim's lip that night, there's no other explanation, is there? Haven't you been listening to me at all?
I feel there's an English expression about a pot and a kettle that's appropriate here.
Compared to the other jurors who don't even appear to have anything to say about the case at all. It would seem that this elderly gentleman has been listening to the proceedings far more intently.
I suppose the trouble is...
He has selective hearing?
Exactly, but still... This juror may well be the key to the breakthrough that we so desperately need. This is hopeless. There's no way for me to appeal to those people.
I do think that the only way we shall overcome this difficult situation is by exposing the way in which Mr. Shamspeare was really poisoned. We have to prove that it happened some other way, and not via Mr. Natsume's tea.
Yes, I know. The trouble is, I have absolutely no idea how it did happen.
Mr. Naruto, I wonder if perhaps there's something you might have forgotten.
Like what?
It's important to watch everyone involved and pursue people if they react to something else, something someone else says. If you'd like me to remind you exactly what I mean, I'd be more than happy to, of course.
Once again, Soseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands here. I probably owe it to my client to hear any advice my assistant may be able to offer. So perhaps I ought to let Susato-san remind me then again. There's no need because we already pursued, so I'm gonna say no to keep it short. Actually, I don't think there's any need. It's vital that we start trying to change these jurors' minds as soon as possible.
Of course, I'm sure you're right. But if you decide you would like your memory refreshed, you need only ask, Mr. Naruto.
So if you have started watching this playthrough without watching the first game, you can pursue, which we just did with this juror here. We blow and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in real trouble. So this guy was pursued by us when we listened to her testimony, and we pursued him, and that's what, at least I think so. At least I think that Susato-san was about to tell us what pursuing is, and we already did that. So I'm sorry if you don't know, but you now kind of know, I hope. If you want me to explain it in some other episode, just tell me in the comments. I'll do so gladly. I'll prepare and I'll tell you what pursuing actually is. Alright, so blow too hard on a gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in trouble. So we are supposed to pit this person against someone else. The defendant must logically be guilty. Far expensive. I can't understand why the man would want to avoid paying. Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to live in it around the city and maintain the pipes. Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. Wait a second, this is a little bit weird. And having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Blow too hard to the gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in real trouble. I can't quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying. That doesn't make sense. The gas doesn't come for free? So wait a second. What if we pit her against her? Does that make sense, guys? Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes. I do agree that that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying. I'm just gonna do that. Okay, we were wrong. Those two statements, yeah, my lord. Okay, so we lost a life for nothing, but I wanted to check that out because they do contradict each other, kind of. It's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. So we are supposed to pit him against someone else, but... So are we supposed to pit these...
Objection!
Okay, we are supposed to pit these two guys against each other. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious, those to whose statements do you refer, Counsel?
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said?
What? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other.
There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in a manner of speaking, pass the victim's lip on the night in question.
What? What explanation?
I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene? To see if there were any traces of poison there.
I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe? Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance.
What a piece of work is a man! What are you trying to say, Mr. Shamsby? What speakest thou? Prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir. I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body.
Good lord!
Are they tasty, then? Gas pipes? Is that what he's saying?
Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him, huh? For shame, madam, speaking thy fancy. I assure you, I'm not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes.
Objection!
This is no summation examination. This is a farce. The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friends' conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips to the pipe that feeds it, he would have to be a contortionist. These are empty assertions. There is no possible proof that the man did as you say.
It's true that I have no proof that Mr. Shamsby put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shamsby has been doing something in front of that lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it.
Alright, you've got our attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself.
So would I. Let's see this evidence then.
Now that I've got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that time and time again, Mr. Shamsby stood in front of his gas lamp and... There we go, handprints on the wall. So we can see here, just to show you again, this is the gas lamp, and he has been standing here a lot of times because all of the handprints. So we're gonna present that.
Take that!
What the?
These are, wait, what are they called? Yes, skin prints that were found at the scene.
Skin prints, Counsel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in court, however.
My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It reveals all of the places that Mr. Shamspeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, that's black magic, isn't it?
Well, if anyone could invent something like this, that great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure.
I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Films was quite fascinating.
We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shamspeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in this room. For example, here. Around the hanging picture
there, indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder, could you have been appreciating the artwork, perhaps?
At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of...
Ah!
I don't believe it! The gas lamp!
Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shamspeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall in front of that lamp.
Right, what have you been up to, you nut?
I'd ask the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement.
Me? What did I say?
You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you'll recall juror number 3's statement.
What? Me now?
When the gas worker who visited his home blew with too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights and the gas stove to go out and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shamspeare were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will.
Crickery!
Oh, are you suggesting that the man purposefully caused the gas to...
Objection!
Whilst I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during a summation examination, I must toast to my learned friends, utter disregard for the letter of the law.
What is the meaning of this, Lord Von Zieks?
This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints, clearly that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case.
But it's an exciting new forensic technique developed by a great detective.
It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands.
Ugh.
Certainly even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Sholmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
But... Please, my lord, if I may?
Mr. Sato,
I was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wish to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree.
Oh, Susato-san, great, well done.
You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide.
Juror number 3.
Oh yes, I do declare the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints.
Okay, at least we swayed 2 people in.
What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy.
Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise.
No, wait! You heard his lordship. It's no fair to give evidence.
Oh, it seems like we did it.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruto. If just one more Yura changes his or her mind, Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Sato, but I couldn't have done it without you. We couldn't have. You swayed them.
Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success.
Why, Mr. Shamsby? You seem to be losing your composure.
Just one more Jura, Mr. Naruto. You can do it!
Very well. Continue, counsel. Ah, so we are still... Logic me? So she is convinced. So he's convinced. Little sketchy at times. That doesn't make sense. Gas doesn't come for free. Maintain the pipes. Can we even... So we can't even pit those people. Can we present stuff? No, we can't. So we are supposed to pit him against... Or are we? I'm a man of logic. So does this make any sense? So if we pit him, a man of logic, me, having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. Gas doesn't come for free, it costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes. Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. That doesn't make sense though, does it? This is hopeless. I do think that the only one is difficult of exposing. We have to prove that it happened some other way. The trouble is, I have absolutely no idea how it did happen. Mr. No, I wonder if perhaps there's something you might have forgotten. Like what? So we could just ask her again to go to pursue, but there is no need to, because we already did that. Are we supposed to press people again?
Hold it!
What if we press them again? All the evidence, you say?
That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at the Japanese man with the big moustache.
Says the Englishman with the bigger moustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events on the night in question. What do you make of that?
What? Your so-called skin prints?
It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique developed by the great detective himself.
The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shamsby had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was.
Well, yes, I won't deny that it's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides...
Yes?
Even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it? Oh, if you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance.
You do make a very valid point, sir.
What?
That's true. Perhaps I was a little hasty.
No, wait! Look, you've got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese courts can, that is.
Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruto, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back. What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show that Mr. Shaftesbury really did blow down the gas pipes on the night in question? We do have actually supporting testimony because we have Mr. Garadab in stock, right? Let me just check. So, Handprints on the wall. We do have. I'm pretty sure that we have supporting testimony. No, in truth, I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, there is witness testimony that substantiates it.
What's that? Testimony!
This is incredible. Whose testimony?
Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. Person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in the Garadab's residence that night, namely Mr. Garadab himself. I'm pretty sure that's the case because we talked to him and he's talked about the lights flickering, so... Well, Mr. Foreman, does that convince you? Ooh, I don't think he was listening.
Rest assured, counsel, I shan't let such nonsensical answers go without penalty.
I thought I'd go away with it. A witness who spoke about the gas on the night in question. Yes, there was someone. That's what I thought too, but I obviously chose the wrong person. So it is indeed someone, but let me have... Someone who spoke about the gas flickering. And it's not Mr. Garadab, so we're gonna press him again? Yeah, we know all about that, so we're gonna... I have supporting testimony. Truth, I don't have any evidence, but... It's all connected? But it must be Mr. Shakespeare then, because we don't have any other... If it's not Mr. Garadab? So it must be Mr. Shakespeare, right?
Take that!
No, it's not. Alright, so let me think about this. Let me think about this, guys. So what can this even mean? So this is really... We lost so many lives too already, so... Wait a second. Let me switch to people. So is it Mr. Natsume? It must be Mr. Natsume then, right? Oh, I'm so speechless about this. This is so strange. How to go about this? So it must be Mr. Natsume, right? There is no other... So we're gonna press him. We're gonna press him and I'm gonna go with Natsume if we get a guilty verdict here. I mean, we won't yet. But this game is way harder than the first one, that's for sure. I mean, but that's okay because the first game being so easy was quite satisfying, but it wasn't as satisfying to figure things out. So I'm going with Mr. Natsume here.
Take that!
Okay, this one was right. Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant, Mr. Sosuke Natsume himself.
The defendant?
At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following.
My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings! Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamsby's room. I lit my gas stove and I climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me!
On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that a mere coincidence or not?
Good golly! So that Shamsby fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stuff go out on purpose?
No, hold your orders there. What would you do that for?
He's sweating though. Mr. Foreman,
What is it, man?
we cannot allow judgment to be passed whilst this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have any conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree, there is more to this case than meets the eye.
Ugh. Fair enough. Like I said at the outset, I'm a man of logic first and foremost.
Oh, we did it! We did it, guys! It was close, but we did it! Oh, that's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue. That was... oh my god. As the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with a majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now call guilty, 4 now call not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and, in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shamsby.
My lord, how can thy humble Shamsby serve thee?
What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination?
So God amend me, I do solemnly swear, I recall aught of either the lamp or the pipe.
But your emperors have made a tidy mess all over the wall there. How'd you explain that, huh?
I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already. Juror number 5.
Who, me?
As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in a British court of law.
Ugh.
As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall remains at this time unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that.
Objection!
But the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp in Mr. Shamsby's room to be examined. If there are traces of poison there...
Objection!
What appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind. You will recall that in order to check for the presence of the poison in the tea, some remnants of the tea were required.
Yes!
Therefore, it shouldn't be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible.
Oh, I didn't think of that. In any case, counsel, I fail to see what would possibly have motivated the man to do as you described.
Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipe work where he lived?
There's only one possibility that I can think of, and that is to use the leaking gas to commit murder.
Order, order! Counsel, precisely whose life do you suppose this man was plotting to end?
The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shamsby wanted to end the life of... Is it Mr. Natsume? I have to be very careful because I readily gave away 1 star already for nothing. And this summation examination cost us a lot of patience. Wait a second. It's Olive Green, isn't it? He went to the hospital and talked to her. It has to be Olive Green. Right?
Take that!
Good lord! An unexpected answer indeed!
That's right, my lord. The nature of cases like these is that they're full of wild twists and turns.
Objection!
Nah. Or rather, my lord...
The nature of councils like these is that they're full of wide-eyed twaddle and theatrics.
Okay, that conjecture, that was just... Alright, keep calm, just try to think. I know there's someone who's been complaining of troubles with the gas supply recently. Mr. Shamsby wanted to end the alarm. So it is Soseki Natsume. It is Soseki-san. I am so stupid sometimes. Ooh, okay, we only have 1 life left. So, guys, we have far breached the half-hour mark already. So that means we are going to call it quits for this episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Resolve. If you want to know if I do get a guilty verdict or not because of all the mishaps I had already in this episode, you'll have to tune in next time. See you then.